Hey guys, welcome to another episode of 3SSRTV. We're your hosts, Peter Teros.
And I'm Chad Phillips, and got another show for you for 3SSRTV. We've got everything from music, sports, travel, gaming, street walk, plenty more.
You said that a bit slow. Were you trying to remember what was on the show?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much? Okay,
I don't think I got it in the order, but...
We got it right.
No,
you got it all down.
Yeah.
But to start off the show, because we've been a little criticised that we don't take things seriously sometimes.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've been at Swinburne for a while, so we've learned how to do stuff, and interviewing is something that we've been practicing.
Believe it or not, we're actually journalism students.
I know, right?
Yeah.
So we've got a really good interview. This is serious stuff. It's quality from 3SSR management.
I expect to get a Walkley out of this.
We will get one.
Yeah.
It's just that good.
Yeah.
And it's coming up after what's coming up. So it's not what's coming up, it's what's after what's coming up.
That's a good build-up for
great
the interview.
build-up.
No, sir, it's going to be a really good interview. So, but in the meantime, we're going to go to music for this week with Michael and Tom.
Hello and welcome to another week of 3SSR Music. I'm here as always with Mikey. How you going, mate?
Good, Tom, yourself?
Yeah, well, pretty good. I've got a bit of sad news to talk about later on, but first, what have you got?
I've actually got some really good news, Tom.
Well, that's good to hear.
I've got better news. Animated band Gorillaz have announced they're going to be releasing their fourth album in 2016. This has come from Blur frontman Damon Albarn, who is one of the co-creators of the band Gorillaz. He's basically announced saying that after his solo tour, they're going to get back into the studio and they're going to start writing music for Gorillaz' fourth album.
2016, that's a fair way down the track. Why are they putting such a big date on it?
Basically, it's been 6 years since they released their third studio album entitled Plastic Beach, which wasn't a bit of a hit. It wasn't as big as...
Didn't do much, did it?
It wasn't as big as Demon Days. Demon Days was probably their best album to date.
Yeah.
But I think 2016 is a good target for them because they sort of look like...
Really refine it by then, yeah.
Basically 4, 5, 6 years, a new Gorillaz album comes out. It's sort of become their mantra now that they've done it. Also in other news, folk rockers Mumford & Sons have announced that they're going to be getting back together in the studio and start writing on their third album.
Exciting stuff, yeah.
The last album in 2012 was called Babel, and then they took an indented hiatus after Splendid in the Grass Festival.
Which was a fantastic album, Babel, wasn't it?
I think they traveled, to 20 different countries.
And look, I really think they would have needed that hiatus after that. You know, if they kept going, they would have just ruined it.
Burnt themselves out.
Burnt themselves out, yeah.
They're also working with James Ford, who's the producer for the Arctic Monkeys as well on this next album. So
fantastic.
It'll be really good to see maybe some difference into the folk music. Maybe
a bit rockier.
Yeah.
Maybe might see a few electric guitars come out or something.
Cannot wait for that. It'll be really good if they can do that.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, it doesn't have to be like distorted like electric guitar, but maybe a bit of clean, so just a bit more rocky, a bit edgier. That'd be sweet.
Be a bit sweet.
Yeah.
In other news as well, the Foo Fighters have announced their new album, Sonic Highways, due for release November 10. I cannot wait for this album at all because I'm a Fooey's fan. I've been waiting for this album to come out for a couple of years now. Wasn't a fan of Wasting Lights. Waiting for this one because this album.
You didn't like that album?
Wasn't a fan of it.
Okay, fair enough. I thought it was quite good.
Prefer the older stuff.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, that's fair enough.
And Dave Grohl, he's basically they've just released a documentary as well on Sonic Highways as well. That's been premiered on TV. They've done a lot of promotion towards this album. They're trying to make this album like one of their best that they've ever done. And I think it's going to be really good.
Well, that's exciting. Everyone's a fan of the Foo Fighters. I think they're just one of those bands that everyone enjoys and loves, and Dave Grohl's just one of those lovable characters that we all just can't wait to see do well.
Well, what about Nickelback?
Nickelback. Do not put Foo Fighters and Nickelback in the same sentence, mate.
Okay, Tom, you've got some news. I'm sorry about that.
A bit of sad news here. Triple J host Lindsay McDougall, or better known as the Doctor, has announced his resignation from the nationally broadcasted radio station. So really, really sad news here. After 10 years at Triple J, the news saddens his regular listeners. Being a guitarist of the Australian punk band Frenzal Rom, he's always been a favourite there at Triple J, and I'm really sad about this. He is fantastic there in the drive slot on Triple J, and I really don't know who's going to replace him there, Mikey. Sad news. But in other news, I've got news about Wally D. Backer, or Gautier as we all know him. has announced that he will no longer be releasing music under that name. So, I'm really upset about this as well. It's been 11 years since Wally's been releasing under Gautier, and we've seen him reach stardom with Somebody That I Used to Know back in 2011, reached the top of the Australian charts, and then in 2012 it went international, UK charts, US charts.
India as well.
India as well, don't forget that. Yeah, but reached number one everywhere, and I really hope there's more music to come from this guy, but when he's got that platform, everyone knows who he is.
Do you think he's sort of, wanting to do more music under the basics now that he's decided, he doesn't want anything to do with Gautier?
I think so. I think he's going to be doing a lot more work with the basics. He's definitely been trying to promote the basics on the Gautier Facebook page. We're sort of using that platform as promotion. But, I'd like to see some more solo stuff from him. I love him the way he is. I love his sort of music. But, what's he going to do? Is he going to go under Wally D. Backer? I don't think that would work.
Doesn't have the same vibe as like Gautier and all that, because everyone knows Gautier. And if you say Wally D. Backer, a lot of people's going to go, who's that?
And also, you can't limit yourself to your name. When you go as a solo artist under your name, you're sort of saying, this is you, this is your music. Whereas Gautier was a project. He could do whatever he wanted with it, but it's when it's just him, his name. I don't think it'll work.
No, I mean, if you look at Eminem, Eminem stuck by his name for 20 years. It wouldn't be the same saying, Mitchell Mathers, singing or rapping and all that, doing Rap God and all
That's
that.
Right.
That's why he stuck with Eminem.
Or anyone, Lana Del Rey. Just look at all those sort of artists, But anyway, sorry to break the bad news to you, but that's all from us this week in 3SSR Music. Catch you later.
You're watching 3SSR TV right here on C31, and me and Peter, we've had flack about our being serious on the television show. So as journalism students, we're going to be taking this down into a very serious journalism.
That's right. We've had this huge interview with, we're having this huge interview with 3SSR management. It's going to be a big, important interview, and I think you can start it off.
Yep. Thank you very much for coming into the studio. I wanted to start off by asking you, how do you see 3SSR management when it comes to the future of community radio? What will you do when there's that pressure from government funding?
Okay. How do you see 3S, going into the future, moving into, TV next year?
Peter, I don't think this is working out for us. I don't think I'm going to get a Walkley Award for it.
I reckon we will. I reckon it's working. Just ask one more question.
All right.
I think we should do this.
All right. How do you see radio and television in Australia when it comes to funding? Does the model have to change?
No,
This is absolute
we're
disaster.
done.
I've
No,
just made an ass of myself.
No, we're done.
I've got no career.
Okay, I think we should switch. We should continue the show. We'll be back with Hidden Wonders of Australia.
Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Hidden Wonders of Australia. I'm Jess.
And I'm Crystal.
And today we'll be talking about one of Australia's most amazing tourist attractions, the Great Ocean Road. Stretching over 250 kilometres from Torquay to Warrnambool, this is a must-see location that is blessed with amazing natural beauty. No one needs an excuse to visit this fascinating place, and today we'll fill you in on just some of the amazing sights to see around this area. So what better way to begin really than with the official start of the Great Ocean Road, which is Torquay.
Best place in the world.
Yeah, definitely so beautiful. This is home to the famous Bells Beach and is the birthplace of some of the most iconic surf brands. However, although it is a really popular destination, there are still some must-see hidden gems in this area. So situated in the west coast is a closed optional beach known as Point Impossible. With broad uninterrupted white sands stretching in both directions from the car park, this is such a stunning location that I really think you guys should check out. And so for the outdoorsy type, it's hard to imagine a better place to be, whether you lie on your back on the sand, float in the gentle swell of the pure blue waters, or simply just commune with nature. It's really incredible.
It definitely is. Next on the road trip is Portarlington, which is definitely one of my favourites. It's a highly travelled destination growing up and still to this day. It's something that will never get old to me or my family. Now, there isn't a great deal to do here, but simply disconnect yourself from reality. turn off your phone, leave the laptop behind and grab your family and friends a footy and the cricket set. Portarlington is a hotspot for fishing and it never disappoints. You don't need a boat or to pay big bucks for a fishing charter. Just grab a line and head to the pier and prepare yourself for some squid for dinner. A van at the end of the pier also sells fresh mussels. He has been there for many years and going off the quality of the seafood, he isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Seafood lovers will also enjoy Portarlington Mussel Festival, a celebration of the local industry and a fun day full of music, local wines, beer and of course plenty of mussels. And best of all, once again, always gets back to food somehow. At the start of the pier, another van selling freshly made hot jam donuts. The markets or the footy can't even compare. This is the real deal. And you have to do the sugar challenge. Have you done the sugar challenge?
No, I don't know if I could.
You have to eat a hot jam donut without licking your lips not once. And the outcome at the end is hilarious.
I can imagine. But meanwhile, at the end of the road is something wonderful known as Warrnambool. With Lady Bay in the Southern Ocean, streets lined with Norfolk pines and little boutique shops and ritzy little cafes and heritage building, this place is for absolutely anyone. The beautiful foreshore will always provide you with days of fun at the beach and rock pools, and it is perfect for surfers who are keen to find a place a little less crowded than the more popular destinations like something like Torquay.
Exactly.
So there's walking and biking tracks which provide adventure and amazing sightseeing spots, and there are a number of different tracks and trails around Warrnambool's natural wonders, their heritage sites, parks, and of course their beautiful beaches. The history of the location is second to none, and the town pride themselves on their long-lasting historical culture. All of these things are simply amazing, but when I think of Warrnambool, I definitely think of the food.
Once again,
again back on the food. But it has really high quality local produce, and this is celebrated in many of Warrnambool's best restaurant cafes and bistros. There's beautiful dishes made up of fresh, homegrown produce that you definitely don't want to miss out on.
Yeah, definitely. But that's all we have time for, unfortunately. But definitely tune in next week as we have a little of a set surprise for you. Back to the studio, guys.
Thanks, Jess and Crystal. They'll be back same time, same place next week. But we've got more to come here on 3SSRTV.
Definitely, Peter, because plenty more to come with sports, gaming and street walk right here on 3SSRTV. Welcome back to 3SSRTV right here on C31. Let's get into sports with Jono and Peter Siros.
You gotta say footy.
Wait.
You gotta say footy. Take one.
Oh, right.
Stop.
Are we ready?
Stop.
You screwed it.
Oh, fucking hell. That was your fault, you dumbass.
I didn't do nothing.
Focus.
All right.
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
we'll turn
teleprompter's on. I don't know how to. We'll do it.
Yeah, we'll do that after.
Sorry, that was quite rude.
No, it's all good. I can't remember how to do it.
Come on, guys. Come on.
Ready? Footy, take one.
G'day guys, welcome to another edition of 3SSR Footy Hit. As always, John Donahoe, Peter Siros here, and we're going through the final 8. I think we've got 4 teams to go after today, final 8 of the ladder. So we're up to Port Adelaide and Freo, and Pete, we'll start with Port. How'd you see their year?
Brilliant year. Incredible year. I wasn't expecting them to make finals last year when they did. Came out of nowhere to make it, and they topped it up this year. They were first in the ladder for a good part of the season.
Yeah.
Did drop off a little bit mid-year, but they picked up quite well at the end. They won 2 finals, made a preliminary final, got this close to the Hawks as well. It's a little disappointing at the finish because they could have beaten the Hawks. They could have been playing Sydney in the grand final.
Well, I think they're well capable of winning the whole thing next year. Their midfield is strong. Wines, Boak, Ebert, the list goes on and on. You've got a strong backline, O'Shea and Carlisle and all those back there. And then your forwards, Jay Schultz, Westhoff, Trengove can go forward. They can all go forward at times and influence the game. And Monfries is up there as well. And then add Paddy Ryder, and that's just another dimension in the ruck and to go forward. So
they're building. They're really building, and I reckon next year it could be traces of 2004 all over again.
That's right. They're going to be really in the hunt come next year. Dom Cassisi did retire. Didn't have a big season, though. I think he only played 8 games or something like that. But, you know, big player, premiership player leaving the club. But, yeah, they're going to be right in for it next year.
Absolutely. And so we'll move on now to Fremantle, who Port Adelaide actually beat in the semi-final. So Freo, you know, coming off a grand final appearance in 2013, didn't start all that well, really, but made it up in the back end of the year.
I tipped them as premiers at the start of the year, and they didn't really do much come finals, and they had a terrible first month of football. I think they were sitting at last at one point in the season. They had a really bad start to the year, got a good middle, decent finish, lost to St Kilda, which was an interesting one.
Great result.
But
that was one of the best games I've ever seen St Kilda play.
That's right, and they were a full man side as well. They were not undermanned.
Only Sandilands was missing, I think.
That's right, and Fife, I think, as well. But
yeah.
the point is, St Kilda beat them. I don't know, they bounced back quite well. Didn't provide too much in the finals, but they are going to be a very serious chance come next year.
And we should have mentioned that Port actually lost to Richmond at one point in the year. But Richmond couldn't replicate it in the finals.
No, not even close. Not even close.
But where do you see Freo going next year? Up, down, or staying the same?
I think they'll go a little bit down. Okay. I think they'll be around the top 8. But I don't know. I just don't see them being too much of a premiership chance. McFarlane's on his last leg. He's pretty much on one leg, and you got Pavlich, who's he's entering the end of his career at the moment. I think he's playing his 16th year next year at 33. So you know they don't have. There's something missing for me for Fremantle, but at the same time we never know.
They still have Nat Fyfe though in the midfield, who if he stays uninjured and unsuspended next year, could really go on and actually win the Brownlow.
Yeah, I think he will.
And their midfield's pretty strong, and Hayden Ballantyne can go in and out and plays as a small forward as well. So, look, for me, it's not all doom and gloom for Freo. I think they'll be around the same mark, between 4th and 7th, I think. But you never know. Freo, Ross Lyon pulls these magical things every year, and he could get them to a grand final once again, and you never know, could go all the way, because the way he thinks, you never know.
You never know. You're right, you never know. It could be a Fremantle Port Adelaide grand final next year. But at the same time, it also counts with, as you said, injuries, suspensions, they all fall into place at the end of the day. So we don't know what's going to happen next year, but they are going to be up there. I'd be very surprised if they're not up there, but I don't think they'll win.
Absolutely. Well, that's all we got time for today. We're almost at the end of our season reviews. I think next week's Geelong and Hawthorn, I believe. I've probably missed one in there because that would mean the last week we would talk about Sydney, but that's all right. We'll go with that. So next week, Geelong and Hawthorn, and until then, I'm John Donohoe, he's Peter Saros. We'll see you next week.
And we have plenty more to come right here on 3SSRTV with games and Street Walk.
You're watching 3SSRTV right here on C31.
That's right, we have plenty on the show to come. For now, we're going to head off to the Swing Gamers, and I think they're talking about Pokemon, and I hope they mention Charizard somewhere in there, because I would love to own a Charizard. It's just cool. I just want to own one.
Hey guys, welcome to Swing Gamers. I'm Sean.
I'm Ricky.
And we're here to talk to you this week about Pokemon. Now, Ruby and Sapphire coming Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, and they're going to be absolutely awesome. Sapphire and Ruby, they weren't the best-selling Pokemon games of the series. However, it's going to be really interesting to see how they go. Now, Ricky, tell me a little bit about what you reckon are going to be the new parts for the new Pokemon. So there are a couple of things that are carrying over from X and Y, but there are going to be a couple of improvements that we're going to see later on.
Yeah, that's right. We've seen a little bit of footage of this new move called Soar, which basically allows you to jump on any flying Pokemon, and instead of now flying just from point to point as you used to do, you can now just fly over the map as a whole, which is a really, really big jump for a Pokemon game. It used to be just point to point flying. You couldn't actually control the Pokemon in flight, but now you can. You can just fly over the entire map. And this is a really, really big development for a Pokemon game, a really big step forward. So that's going to be really, really cool to try out, I reckon.
Yeah, there's a couple of new additions to the games. For example, the fairy type from X and Y are making a comeback, so that's going to change a little bit of the story, as well as a couple of other things. It's going to stay true to the original story of Ruby and Sapphire, except they're going to have a couple of little updates, which are going to surprise the old players as well as welcome the new players in. There's even a Pikachu who comes in that you get during the story, and he can change up to 5 different costumes. And these costumes will allow him to have a different move. So for example, you get into a certain gym and maybe it's weak against a certain move, so it's weak against water moves. You might be able to change it to a certain costume and Pikachu will be able to use a water move and you'll be able to get through the gym a lot quicker. So I reckon stuff like that, that's going to add to the game a little bit more and make it a little bit more diverse than the original games.
Yeah, stuff like that really adds to each experience. Like when you rehash a game, you need to sort of bring in something new to get people to play it again. And I think Pokemon, they've done everything they can to sort of make this a brand new experience while still being familiar. One of the things I really want brought over from X and Y is XP share. This made leveling up your Pokemon so much easier. Rather than just having one Pokemon get all the experience for a battle, it now shared the experience over all of your Pokemon that you were carrying with you. And this is something that I really hope they do bring across because it just made the entire experience of the game a lot easier. Instead of having to swap Pokemon in and out, you could just get XP across all of your Pokemon. So that's one of the things I really want to come across. And the other thing is, of course, the look of the game.
Yeah.
X and Y looked gorgeous, and they've brought across that visual style for Ruby and Sapphire, which is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, they're going to utilise the 3D really well, I think, especially in the Pokemon battles as well. It's turning into a lot more Pokemon Stadium on the Nintendo 64, which a lot of people remember. And I think that's kind of a jump that it needs to go on. It's heading down that path of almost gathering all the essence of Pokemon and turning it from a top-down RPG into something a little bit where you can walk around, more like Grand Theft Auto and Elder Scrolls series and that sort of stuff. I think they're heading down that path slowly but surely. We've had a couple of games like on the GameCube and the Wii, XD Gale of Darkness, Pokemon Coliseum, those sorts of games where they have a story mode and you've got that different camera angle, and you've got everything's 3D and all that. I reckon they're pushing down that path, slowly but surely. And I reckon in a couple of years possibly, or maybe even a couple of generations of consoles, if Nintendo's still doing Pokemon, which I'm sure they will be, we'll definitely see the fully fledged Pokemon RPG that fans have been crying out for a long time.
Yeah, I'm one of those fans. I really want just a world to explore where I'm battling against other people, other real people in the game. That would be that's the dream. But a
Pokemon MMO.
Yeah, exactly. A Pokemon MMO would be just absolutely fantastic. But we can dream, we can hope, but we're realistic at the same time. But until then, we have these great games, and each iteration has something new, something cool about it that sort of it keeps me coming back every single time. I can't remember the last generation of Pokemon that I actually missed. So there's obviously something about these games. It's the familiarity, a bit of nostalgia for a lot of people that brings us back each time. And I think it's the magic of Pokemon, and I love it.
Yeah. And also the Mega Evolution's making a comeback from X and Y. So we saw Mega Blaziken in X and Y, and now we're going to see Mega Marshtomp and Mega Swampert, and we're going to see all the different Megas. So that's going to add a new point to online battling and all that sort of thing. So that's going to be really interesting. And plus with XP Share, if they do add that in as well, I think it's going to lend more towards a competitive Pokemon than the adventure. X and Y was very much the adventure, getting kids through the story. I think I say kids because it felt like it was holding my hand the entire way through the campaign. But after that, it started to get into the whole multiplayer aspect of it and versus and getting online and battling other people. And that's where the Mega Evolutions really came into play. I think that's what the remakes Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby are really trying to do as well.
Yeah, I really did enjoy actually doing the multiplayer with friends, local multiplayer. That was a really fun aspect, and that sort of made you really develop your teams a certain way. So if you wanted to be someone that just crushed your opponents, you built your team a certain way. If you wanted to be someone that sort of negated a lot of their abilities, you built your team a different way. So that was really cool once I finished, because I finished the campaign in 2 days. It was very quick. If you sort of sat down and did a couple of decent sessions, it was over. So then it was, exploring the world, doing the multiplayer, that sort of thing. So hopefully, once again, we get a bit more of that, which is good, which I liked. But yeah, I'm just really looking forward to it. It looks like, instead of giving us something brand new, they've sort of rehashed something that they've done before, but they put a different twist on it. So I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, it sounds like we're all looking forward to the new Pokemon games, Alpha, Sapphire, and Omega Ruby. So they're coming out in November, and hopefully everyone with a 3DS will be able to pick up a copy. Anyway, my name's Sean.
I'm Ricky.
And back to the studio.
Thanks, Sean and Ricky. The latest in Swing Gamers, and we both like Pokemon. Like I like was it the Diglett guy?
Yeah, the Diglett. Yep.
Yeah.
You like Diglett?
Yeah.
I personally, as I said before, I love Charizard.
Yeah.
I would love to own a Charizard. They don't exist.
I like to get one of those Yu-Gi-Ohs as well.
I think that's
A Tarzo, is that?
That's now you're getting even further away from. No, you're wrong.
Yak back, is that?
No.
Is that-
What the hell's in a yak back?
I don't know. I think I had one when I was 8 years old.
Was I even born when you were 8 years old? What's a yak back?
I don't know. Impressive. Makes funny sounds or something.
Okay, we're gonna head off to Street Walk with Steffi and Georgia.
Hey guys, welcome to the Street Walk. I'm Steffi.
And I'm Georgia, and today we're asking people what is the most weirdest food combo you've tried.
It's gonna get gross. Let's get to it.
And what's your most craziest food combination?
On toast, a bit of peanut butter, a bit of chili, some egg. It's genius.
Oh wow, that sounds yum. I want to try that.
Hey, so what's the weirdest food combo you've ever had?
Peanut butter, Nutella, and rice bubbles in a white bread sandwich.
Sounds great. That's super crunchy.
Yeah, super crunchy. You need crunch.
Crunchy peanut butter?
Yeah, crunchy peanut butter. Smooth peanut butter is a no-go. It's peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time.
What's the weirdest food combination you've ever had?
I would say spaghetti bolognese and bananas.
Wow, that's definitely interesting. How was it?
Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Wouldn't recommend?
No, never.
All right, Kirsty, what is your craziest food combination?
I really like eating salt and vinegar chips with mayonnaise.
On bread?
Just on their own.
Just dip the chips in the mayo.
It's a great dip.
Thanks.
All right, so that wraps up Street Walk for this week. What's your weird food combination, Georgie?
Well, I'm feeling pretty hungry now after all those answers, but my weird food combo is white bread, cream, and banana. It's better than you think.
I got nothing to... what?
And what's your weird one, Steffi?
Mine is, instead of a grilled cheese, it's a grilled rice. So it's rice in a fried sandwich.
A grilled rice.
Grilled rice.
With salt and pepper, or?
Yeah.
Well,
It's actually amazing. Fry it with oil.
oh, yeah.
It's beautiful. So that's us.
Thanks, Georgia and Steffi. They'll be back same time, same place next week. But we are almost at the end of the show, unfortunately.
We are done.
I can't do this seriously with the band, but I'm trying. I'm really trying. Remember to go on the website, take a look at some of the older episodes, or restream this one as well. Also check out the radio content at 3SSR.org and go and check out the apps, which are free for Android and iPhone. I can see him nodding.
And also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. But until then, I'm Chad Phillips.
And I'm Peter Saros.
See ya.
Fare thee well.